watched last week, and somebody grabbed the movie, but the Grace Card movie put out by Sony. We watched the movie here last week on Friday. Somebody took the movie this past week. The first screen of the Grace Card says something about what follows does not represent the views of the Sony Corporation. And when I saw that, I was grieved. When I read this with Genesis 6, 7, 8, 9 about Noah, and read this in Genesis 6 that God's heart was grieved, I think, wow, a company in America thinks they need to put a disclaimer on something that is Christian-based, but they can do all the other movies that are not Christian-based with blood, sex, and murder and everything else, and they have no disclaimers. Isn't that amazing? I mean, to me, it is just amazing that that would take place. Well, God's heart is grieved, it's pained, and I wonder where our heart is with the pain around us. Pain meaning the sin around us. Where is our heart with the sin? Are we pained? Or are we like that person who goes to Lake Michigan? Myself. I mean, I used to love to swim in Lake Michigan. Now I go there, it's just cold. Right? Older you get, the colder the water is. You want to have that pool with about 85 or so, something warm. But if you go into Lake Michigan and you start going and you start to get used to the water, you get acclimated to the temperature, and after a while, you're swimming. And somebody else comes out to the water, and you say, oh, jump on in, the water's fine. And they say, it is freezing out here. You say, no, just come on in, you're going to be okay. It takes that person a while to get acclimated to the water. My question is, have we as God's children gotten so acclimated to the sin, acclimated to our own sin, acclimated to the sins of others, that every inclination and thoughts of the heart was only evil, that we don't even notice it anymore, that we're not pained anymore? And it's something just to ask yourself. Just, are you pained? Are you pained, or are you so acclimated that it really doesn't matter to you what's going on? Well, with Noah, what we see here is, so the Lord said, I will wipe out mankind from the earth. Those whom I created from the face of the earth, men and animals and women, creatures that move, I am grieved that I had made them. But there was one man who found favor in God's sight. And the question is, why was Noah spared? Why was he spared? Well, we see first off, in Genesis 6:9, that Noah was a righteous man. He was righteous. He was honest with others. He was obedient to God's word. He was right before God's eyes. We read in the book of Hebrews. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his people. By faith, he condemned the world and became the heir of righteousness that comes through faith. So Noah was a righteous man. Noah was lawful. Noah walked, he walked with others in a way which was just and right. Noah was also blameless among the people of his time. Versus, why was God's heart grieved? Because of the thoughts, the imagination, the action of God's people. And I find this interesting. It says, blameless among the people of his time. Does it say that he's perfect? It's not saying he's perfect, right? We know, if you know the story of Noah, and if you never really read the story except watch Hollywood do their version, I encourage you to go home today and read Genesis 6 through 10 and get a picture and see really what takes place in the story of Noah. But we know that after the flood has taken place, a couple years later, Noah, he's put a vineyard in. The vineyard has grown the grapes, and he makes some wine, and he has too much wine, and he gets drunk. In the process, his one son laughs about it. The other two sons cover Dad's nakedness up. They walk in backwards and cover Dad up. Through that, Noah curses Ham's son, Canaan. Canaan, who has the descendants of the people in the land of Palestine. The Philistines and the Hittites and all of those people that when the Jewish people go into, the Hebrew people on their journey with Moses go in, God says you need to get rid of these people because they are so evil. Some people have said that there was a curse there on Ham. But that curse was on Canaan and on Canaan's descendants. So was Noah perfect? No, he wasn't. But the reality is, he was a man who was righteous. He was a man who was blameless among the people of his time. He was also a man who walked with God. Adam was told to walk with God, but Adam did not. Adam broke that relationship. Adam was that teenage kid that says, I know a whole lot better than what you know, Mom or Dad, and I'm going to do it my own way. And even though you got life experience, Mom and Dad, I am going to do what I want to do myself. That's what Adam did. Made the choice to do it on his own. Noah here, do you see the change? From Adam to Noah. Adam was called to walk with God. He decided not to. Noah walks with God in a daily relationship with God. Well, we all know the story of what takes place. God told Noah to build the ark. 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, 45 feet high. A roof above the ark with only 18 inches from the roof to the part of the ark that's floating. 3 different levels on it. A door on the side. Sort of like some of you have seen the movie Evan Almighty. Some of you have watched that movie. I tried to find a good clip to show this morning. None quite fit. But the movie Evan Almighty. And God said, I'm going to bring the floodwaters on earth to destroy everybody. But God also said, I am going to make a covenant with you and with your family. And you and I know that after the ark takes place, after the flood, takes place, that covenant that God makes with Noah and his family and with you and I, but many people consider it the first covenant. Covenant is a relationship, an agreement. When God said to the people, to Noah and his family, I will never destroy the earth again by a flood. And we get to see the sign of that covenant today, the rainbow. Well, wasn't there a rainbow before the flood? What is thought is that from Genesis chapter 2, it talks about the fact that mist of the ground came up and watered the earth. It's thought that there never had been rain before. I mean, that's what theologians tend to say. Never had been rain before. That's why after the flood, when God gives the sign of the rainbow with some rain, that's the sign of the covenant for you and I. But there's some lessons. Some very simple lessons that we can learn from Noah. And I thought about Greg having you come up and do like Jay Leno, ding, for each one of these. There's 10 of them. 10 lessons. First lesson from Noah, don't miss the boat. You don't want to miss the boat. Think about it within the days of Noah. It was Noah and his wife and the 3 sons and the 3 daughter-in-laws. That's it. Noah preached for 120 years while he was making this ark. Can you imagine the ridicule, the laughter, he had to be the butt of all the jokes. What he went through for 120 years? And yet he kept doing it because God called him to do it. 120 years, no converts. Imagine if 1 or 2 of those other people would have said, Noah, we believe you. We're going to walk with you. We're going to walk with your God. We're going to make your God our God. They would have been on that ark and they would have been saved. Today, we have a problem and a struggle in our society thinking that Christianity is the only way. Oh, come on, God, isn't there more ways than one? Aren't all religions the same? Don't all world religions lead us to